بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، سيما بقية الله الأعظم، روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Today's topic, pain management, part 5. One of the mistakes that we make in raising our children is that we lie to them about life and the reality of life. One of the things that is a reality of life is pain and stress. One of the things that's guaranteed in life is stress and problems. There's no refuting that. It's one of the definite things that you're going to get in life is a lot of stress and a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. There's no going around it. But when we talk to our children about life, we deceive them into saying that everything will be all right. It's all going to be good. You don't need to worry. These are things that we tell our children, and we raise them in such a way that they are unable to deal with problems in life. They grow up, and when they actually do come into the midst of life, and they see problems in life and they see difficulties in life, they don't know how to deal with it because they never learn how to stand up against problems or how to deal with pain in their life. And because they don't know how to deal with it, they do what they have done all their life, and that is run away from pain. When they get married, for example, or have children, and they see that it's becoming overwhelming, so the only way they know how to get out of pain is to run away, to escape. And they escape. Instead of dealing with the problem that they have, they want out. It's easier for them to get a divorce and to go away than to deal with the problems that they have in their life. Why? Because they were never taught how to deal with issues. When we look at the teachings of Ahlulbayt for their children, we see that they emphasize to their children that the one thing that you will face for sure in life is problems, is suffering. And they would tell them at a tender age so that they know this is what happens. When a child gets hurt, they don't say, hey, it's going to be all right. They say, no, this is a normal part of life. Everyone goes through pain. Yes, I know that you might be angry at this time, son, but you know what? You need to learn how to deal with it. You need to know how to work with it because that's what's going to happen to you. When you want life and life is going to come to you hard, you need to know how to deal with that. So a person who trains the child that way, that child will know how to deal with a problem and how to solve the problems and how to find comfort in those problems. But when a person doesn't know how to deal with the problems, he has never been taught that, then that person always ends up making mistakes in dealing with problems, and those problems and the pain that he's facing in life is going to overwhelm him and it's going to destroy him and his faith. So, when we look at life, we see there's no avoiding pain in life. This is one of the certainties of life. You can write it down that you are going to get a lot of trouble in life and a lot of suffering in life. Let me read some ayat from the Quran where Allah speaks about this. And He lets us know clearly, without any doubt, what you are going to expect. This ayat where Allah says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Allah says that certainly we have created man in distress. human beings have been created in distress, meaning that all of their life they will just have stress. That's it. That's what they're going to face. This is life. That's what's going to happen to you. Allah is making it clear to you that don't expect anything else. That's what you should be expecting also. In another ayat of the Quran, Allah says, Ya ayyuhal insan, innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqih. He says, surely you are going to struggle towards Allah. Meaning that you are going to go through a lot of pain getting to Allah and meeting Him. Yeah, don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. No, it's going to be a lot of trouble and a lot of problems and a lot of pain and a lot of suffering and distress. So this is a natural part of life. This is something that we not only should we avoid, but we should also expect it to happen in our life. Now these two ayat are regarding human beings in general. Now let me speak about believers. Because believers, Allah, because He likes them and you are Allah's favorites, so Allah wants to give you some more problems, more than other people. So He gives you more problems. How? Let me read this hadith for you in regards to believers. And Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says this hadith that a believer gets one of the three things that is following. One of the three things he's going to get. He says, either he is going to get, that the Imam says, imma بغض من يكون معه في الدار يغلق عليه بابه. He says he will get someone in his house to make his life hell. Meaning that there will be someone in his house who's going to be a problem for him, a problem causer. Whether it's the spouse or the mother-in-law or the father-in-law or the sister or someone is going to be in the house who's going to cause problems in your life. This is the believer he's talking about, mu'min. So mu'min either will get someone in his house who is a problem maker, and you'll see that person will make his life hell. It's like dealing with stress, so much stress in the house, always a problem, some sort of drama happening, unfolding, something being talked about, something being done. It's always happening. So now what happens? Let's say a believer hears that and say, you know what? I'm going to find myself a wife, who doesn't have parents, so then I don't have to deal with a mother-in-law problem or an issue like that. Or I find myself an obedient spouse, someone who will listen to everything I say. Very well. Let's say you find someone who's very good and obedient, and the house is very nice now, and you have peace in your house and harmony. So then Imam says, all right, if you can do that, then Allah is going to give you a problem. Where? In your neighbor. He says, jarin yu'dhihi. He's going to give you a jar, a neighbor who's going to bother you, who's going to make your life hell. Yes, if you can escape your family not being your problem, then you'll get a neighbor who's your problem, who's going to make your life hell, and who's going to make you go through problems and stress. And then, for example, now you heard this, now you become smart and say, you know what? I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to have a house in the middle of nowhere, a farmland, on 20 acres of land. So I have no neighbors to deal with. Okay, good. If you can avoid that, if you're able to get out of that, then what? Then Imam says, then if you can avoid that, then Allah is going to give you, He's going to give you what? A person who works with you or your boss or at work who's going to make your life hell. In your business, in your work, you are going to find someone and you will see that he was going to make your life hell. Give you problems, deceive you, cheat you, do something wrong with you. That you are going to go through stress. So either you get someone in the house to do that. If you can't, then you'll get a neighbor. If you can't, then you get a workmate or a boss or a business partner. Someone is going to give you a problem. That's it. And now let's say if you want to outsmart the system. You want to outsmart the system and you say, you know what? I'm not going to get married and I'm not going to live next to anyone. I'm not going to do business. I'm just going to go in the forest and live in a tent. Something, it can happen, right? Someone can try to outsmart Allah's system and say, I'm not going to get any of these things there. I'll find peace over there and I'll find comfort there and I'll find my harmony there. And I'll live in the forest or the jungle or go on top of a mountain and find a cave so I can live in a cave. All right, if that's the case, you know what? That Imam says, if you try to outsmart the system, he says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ مُؤْمِنًا عَلَىٰ قُلَّةِ جَبَلٍ. If a mu'min goes to the top of the mountain and hides there, so he can avoid problems, he can avoid pain, he can avoid suffering, he hides away from anyone, then it says, لَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى إِلَيْهِ شَيْطَانًا. Allah will send a shaitan to him. يُؤْذِيهِ, so that he can make his life hell. Even if you're hiding on the mountain, Allah will send a shaitan. The shaitan is sent by Allah to bother you. Go and bother that mu'min who's hiding there in that cave. And that shaitan, that demon will come and he will become your problem. He will be your problem. In other words, there's nothing you can do to save yourself from pain and distress in life. It's going to come no matter where you're hiding. This is a definite thing in life. It's guaranteed that you are going to have stress. You are going to have problems. There's no way you can avoid that. Whether it's in your house, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's your worker or at work, and all of that, Allah will send a shaitan to you. Specifically, he will be appointed to you like the angels are, that here, go and bother that person. That mu'min is over there. This is for mu'mineen, Allah is saying, not for others, mu'mineen. So Allah does this in order to make your life, you know that your life is full of pain and suffering and stress. La ilaha illallah. So we need to know that pain exists, that it's there, and there's nothing we can do to get rid of pain, but we can deal with it. We can learn how to deal with pain. But just understanding that there's pain will help us in many ways. Just knowing that we are going to get pain in this life will help us in many ways. And I'll go through that. One of the ways that knowing that pain is here and it's for sure will help us is that it will help us to decrease pointless pain. Pain from hasad and sins. At least we know that, listen, if I am going to get into pain, then you know what? I don't want to add pain to myself by doing these things. I don't want to sin. I don't want hasad. I don't want arrogance, because these are stress that I don't need in my life. Because I already have stress that Allah has made for me. He has given me enough stress. I don't need to add more to it, unnecessary stress. So at least it will help us to decrease that. Number two, knowing that we have suffering in life will help us to have a better attitude in dealing with those sufferings, to dealing with the pain in our life. We will have a much better way of dealing with them. If you know that you are going to be in pain, it will better prepare you to deal with it. For example, if someone goes to Hajj without knowing what Hajj is, they will curse everyone who advised them to go to Hajj. Yes, they will be upset at everyone who gave them the advice. Once they find themselves in pain and stress in Hajj, now they will blame everyone who told them go for Hajj. Why? Because they weren't expecting it. But if they were told that, listen, Hajj is going to be difficult, it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard, it's going to be stressful, then when they get there, they're better prepared for it. Now when it comes, yes, I was told about this. Yes, I was told that this is what's going to happen, that I'm going to go through stress. Good, it's better to deal with. For example, if someone wasn't told that marriage is going to be a problem, and they were always told that, hey, you know what, get married, and everyone advised them. And when he does get married and then he finds himself in problems, he's going to curse everyone who advised him to get married. And he's going to get upset at everyone who did that because no one told him it's going to be difficult. But if everyone had told him, hey, listen, this is going to be very difficult for you. It's going to be very hard for you. Both husband and wife. It's going to be hard for you. There's going to be problems, there's going to be stress, then it will be easier to deal with. Yes, I was told that this is what's going to happen. I was told that it's going to be stressful. I have to deal with it. I have to know how to deal with that it will be better. You'll be better prepared for it. Because when you are trying to deal with stress like a husband-wife relationship, what happens? The wife was always trying to complain the husband doesn't understand him, and the husband is saying that the wife doesn't understand me. Well, you're not supposed to understand each other. You are different from each other. And that was the whole purpose of the marriage, is to make this stress for you. Because in this stress is going to be where your comfort lies in dealing with this stress. That's where you will find that comfort in your life, by dealing with that pain. So you'll be better prepared now that you know it's going to be a problem. Number 3, now if you become smarter, then you will take advantage of the pain in life to help yourself grow. You see, some people get smart now, and they will look at that and look at pain and look at suffering in life, and they will find a way to see how I can make use of this problem to make myself grow. If I'm going through a problem in life, so let me see how I can grow from this and how I can become better from this. They use it as an experience, as a catapult to make them go up. These are smarter people. People who now start using their intellect and their thinking. They now don't just say that, oh, what are these problems? They say, okay, let me use this problem in my favor. Let me use this pain in my favor. Let me use this stress in my favor. And they start to take charge of the pain in their life. Now, 4th way, you can go one step ahead of that now. And you see that people start to take a pleasure from the pain. Yes, they start taking pleasure from it. Wow, how do you take pleasure from pain? They will see, let me see which pain and what's the pain, and let me see what pain that I can take pleasure from. Tell you, when Allah, He gives you pain, when Allah, He gives you suffering in life, when Allah does that to you, then obviously Allah will put certain things in certain pain where He's going to put rewards. We should know that there are certain stress in life that are so rewarding. It's like a jackpot that you can earn so much and you can grow so much that if you have hit that jackpot, then you will see so much benefit for yourself and pleasure in that pain. Let me show you 4 types of pain in which there's so much reward. The first pain in which there's so much reward, the first one which has the most reward, the first stress that has the most reward of any other stress in this life is the stress that you get from your parents. From your parents, the people, if they give you stress, in other words, that they want you to do something that's going to disturb your life, that's going to disturb your schedule, and if you can bear that and do it and find pleasure in that, you will see Allah has kept so much reward for it. So much blessings are there in that stress. So a person finds pleasure in doing it. He finds pleasure in doing that, going through that stress. Second type of stress in which there's so much benefit is the stress that comes from your spouse, whether husband or wife. The stress that comes from your spouse, if a person understands the blessings that are in it and the growth that is there for him or her, then that person would want more of that. They would want more of that stress, more of that pain, because there's so much blessings in it, so much reward in it, that a person can grow so much from that. This is what happens. Second thing. The third stress that brings a lot of reward is the stress that is from children. Yes, you're an important person at work. You're a big-time doctor or someone that everyone looks up to at work. And when you come home, you have a child who is asking you questions upon questions upon questions that are very simple questions, and you feel fed up. And you just don't have the patience for it. You know, if you can understand the reward that Allah has kept in being patient with your child and bearing the stress that your child gives you, then you would wish that you can have more time to be patient with your child. This is a blessing, a spiritual growth that is intended for us. And fourth is stress from other believers. When other believers give us stress of any type, then to bear them and to bear that stress just to keep the relationship with the believer, this is filled with the blessings and filled with spiritual growth. So a person should find pleasure in this. That I want the stress with pleasure, I will deal with it. So this is something that we have to deal with pain. Now, the fifth way to deal with that pain, fifth thing that comes about knowing that pain is real and that you're going to get pain in life and suffering in life. The 5 things, and this is for really people who are very intelligent, very smart people. I mean, genius we're talking about here. They only think in this way. You know, if you know that you're going to get pain in life and that's it, you're going to get discomfort in life and it's going to be there in your life no matter what happens, then you know what you do? You can say, all right, so if I'm going to get pain in life and I'm going to get suffering in life, can I choose my own suffering? Allah says, why not? Yeah, you can choose your suffering. Meaning that, you know, not everyone gets all suffering. Allah doesn't do that with anyone. He distributes pain. You know, you get 3 problems. He gets 3 problems. No one gets every problem. No one has all problems. You know, if you're rich, then you're not poor. If you're poor, you're not rich. You know, if you are sick, you're not healthy. If you're healthy, you're not sick. I mean, someone has to go through some problems in life. And so you get your share of problems. What if there was a way that you can choose your own problems? Allah, what will you do? He said, okay, if you choose your own problems, I'll get rid of the other problems for you. That sounds good, doesn't it? See, a smart person starts to think, very smart people, they start thinking this way. They say, I want to choose my problem, myself. Okay, go ahead, choose your problem. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to give sadaqah. Sadaqah is a suffering. You're giving away your money. Your hard-earned money, you're giving it away. It's not easy. It's not easy to give money. Separating your money from you and giving it away is painful. It is suffering. But it's a suffering that you choose. And when you choose to go through that suffering, then Allah says, all right, because you chose that, I will take other sufferings away from you. And that's why it is said, as-sadaqah yaruddul bala. Sadaqah removes other bala and other afflictions and sufferings. Why? Because you're choosing this suffering. You are choosing to go through this with your own choice. So Allah says, okay, I will not make you go through other things if you go through this. Now, if you go through this, you're getting ajr for it also. You're getting reward for it also, doing infaq and giving it in Allah's way. A smart person, this is how he deals with pain. He chooses his own pain. When you do amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar and bring problems on yourself, the criticism of people and the condemnation of people, then Allah says, okay, good, you chose this trouble for yourself, so I will take the other troubles away from you. I will take the COVID away from you. I will take the cancer away from you. Now you go through this because you're already going through problems because you did amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar. Or if you're doing jihad fi sabilillah, you chose to struggle in Allah's way. So you're going through pain for that. When you go through pain for that, Allah says, I'm not going to give you other pains that you have to deal with. No, you already chosen the pain that you have to go through. This is the way of the ultra intelligent, the smart people, the people who think. They want to choose their own pain. And when they choose their own pain, Allah takes the pain away from them. This is why when you choose Imam Hussein, say that I want to mourn for Imam Hussein and cry for him and spend for Imam Hussein and give for Imam Hussein, then Allah says, well, if you are choosing this pain, I will take the other pain away from you. He will not give you other pain if you chose this pain. And this is the reason why you see that everyone who was with Imam Hussein, not only were they able to deal with pain, they found pleasure in their pain. Every blow that was struck to them was pleasurable for them. It was like, wow, give me more, hurt me more. That's why when you look at the companions, they said to Imam Hussein and testified, if I'm killed and brought back to life and killed again and brought back to life, and if you do this 70 times, I will not leave you. It will be pleasurable for me to go through this pain for you. This is, my friends, that blessing that we have. You know, Allah says that let me give you a way. You know, being indebted to others is a pain. Being in debt to people is a pain. You know, Allah says, you know, I will help you to get out of debt. And be debted to the right person, to the right people. People who are kind and generous. People who are believers. Allah, how would you do that? Allah says, I'll make it easy for you. I'm going to give you Hussein. I'll give you Hussein. And this Hussein is going to give you a lot of energy. And he's going to give you a lot of power. He's going to give you a lot of dignity. And then you will start loving him. When you start loving him, you will start crying for him. And when you do cry for him, don't think that he owes you anything, that you have done a favor on him, because you haven't. Because when you cry for Hussein, that crying is going to help you. That crying is going to give you a blessing. It's going to give you peace. It's going to give you comfort. In other words, you are going to become indebted to Hussein. Everyone who cries for Hussein is indebted to him. Allah has made the whole world indebted to Hussein. Everyone owes Hussein now. Anyone who cries for Hussein now owes Hussein. You know, the only person who didn't cry for Imam Hussein was Bibi Zainab. Bibi Zainab did not cry for Hussein because Hussein asked Zainab that, Zainab, don't cry for me after me. Don't cry for me, because these people are going to look for weakness in you. And I don't want them to find any weakness in you. And so Bibi Zainab, you think she's not going to listen to Imam Hussein? She did not cry. Everyone else cried. She did not cry. It went on all the way till Arba'in and after Arba'in. And people were like, why is she not crying? She would just stare into space. She would just hold her tears back. And she would not cry. So they will try to make her cry. Baneen will come and start talking about Abul Fadl Abbas in front of Zainab to make her cry and remember Abbas, but she would just stare in space. And Layla would come and speak about Ali Akbar and remind her of Ali Akbar, just to make her cry so that she can cry and get those tears out and stop holding it back. But Bibi Zainab would just stare in space. One day they took Bibi Zainab out to the garden where there was water flowing, and they wanted her to see the water flowing. Bibi Zainab saw the water flowing, and she remembered those thirsty shuhada who died on Ashura, and her legs started to buckle under her. She shook and she sat on the ground, but she was just staring in space. She did not cry. She would refuse to cry for Abdullah. If there's one lover that Imam Hussein had above everyone, it was Bibi Zainab. She was the lover of Hussein. When she got married, she made a condition to Imam Ali that whoever you chose for me, I will marry him. But with one condition, that if there's a choice between him and Hussein, I will be with Hussein. I will not leave Hussein. And that's that Bibi Zainab. When we see her in Karbala, her children are brought. And Imam Hussein sees that Bibi Zainab has not come out to see her children who were shaheed. She did not come out to even visit them or to look at them. And if you ask Bibi Zainab, why didn't you come to look at them? She says, they are a gift for Hussein. And when you give a gift, you don't take it back. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا محمود بحق محمد، يا الله بحق علي، فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة، يا قديم حسين بحق حسين. وآخر الدعوان الحمد لله رب العالمين.
بسم الله الرحمن